continue today without topic. It's a very long topic, but very, very interesting topic, as all of them, Baruch HaShem. Preparing for Shabbos. So it's Siman 72. Okay, and halacha number 19. So let's read it first without commentaries. That which is permitted to store. Okay. So we're talking about how to warm up the food or keep it hot. Basically, it's not warming up. It's actually keep it hot overnight for a Shabbos day meal. Okay. That which is permitted to store food in the oven, even if the even when the opening of the oven is not sealed with clay, as in previous sieve, is only when it is stowing meat in the oven. It is likewise permitted to store in the oven even types of legumes and types of dough products that do not take long time to cook. As long as the food is stored in the oven in a significant amount of time before the nightfall, so that so it will be able to become cooked before the nightfall, even just a bit. There is to the point it is edible, albeit only with difficulty. So we're going to explain all of this. However, when stowing in oven, types that became the types of beans and dough products that do not cook to the extent that they are partially edible, so close to nightfall, then they must be sure to seal the door of the oven with clay, because it can be assumed that the coals inside the oven are not shoveled out and covered properly. Okay, it's a lot of details here, but we're going to learn. Very interesting. One must take care to fulfill this halacha. For if they stowed such a food in the oven, but did not prepare the oven in this way, that is by sealing it, then not only it is forbidden to leave the food in the oven, but even after the fact the food is forbidden until the Motzei Shabbos. There is a Saturday night. After an amount of time elapses, right? You see, we had many of these questions we have in the class. People asked, in which the cooking could not have been done had it been cooked after Shabbos ended. Could have been done had it been cooked until after Shabbos ended. Okay, so let's do from the beginning these commentaries and we explain. So again, we're talking about how to maintain food on Shabbos, hot food, and plus here we're going to see even another situation when the person is going to put something in the oven, and it's possible that it's going to get ready, be ready for the Friday night meal. 100%, meaning that something that does not take long to cook. So it's basically, if you think about it, it's two types of foods. The first type for sure is not going to be ready, like means, like we said, there's beans and legumes and meat. I mean, it takes very long time to cook them. It's one option, right? So meaning we're not going to do anything to that, because anyway it's not going to be ready, or some foods that prepares quickly that for sure is going to be ready before Friday night, right, meal. Okay, so they say preferably after before the nightfall. So let's see. So 19. Okay, so halacha 19. What is that is which permitted to store the food in the oven, even when the opening of the oven is not sealed with clay as a previous sieve, is only when one stowing meat in the oven. So meaning last time we said, so in order to set oneself a reminder, so not to open the door of the oven, we said seal it with clay. So clay when it's what's it? When it's wet, right? So they would mix it with water. It's like a plaster, right? That's soft, and then you stick around the door. So from the heat, it's going to dry up, and it's a seal 100%. 100 like a seal. It's very interesting. So today, I think it was yesterday, the question about covering the knobs, right? If somebody I think it was yesterday. If you have a slow cooker, right, slow cooker, and you have a knob, adjust the knob. So that's exactly what it says here. So to reminder not to do anything. So not to make the fire higher or lower. Okay, so here is the same thing. Will they say? But if you put meat in there, there's no reason, because that anyway it's going to be ready in the morning. Okay, so I'm going to skip commentary because we explain. Continue. It is likewise permitted to store in the oven even types of legumes and types of dough products that do not take long time to cook. Okay, so now with meat it's understandable. So these legumes and and dough products that do not take long time to cook. So let's see. Products such as noodles. Okay, see Shulchan Aruch 254.5 regarding the extent of that a regular bread is like must be baked, and it's like regular bread and the like must be baked in order to permit leaving it in oven for Shabbos. Not sure. So one more time. So we're talking about dough products. Again, dough products such as noodles. Okay. So Shulchan Aruch says regarding the extent that the regular bread and the like must be baked in order to permit leave it in oven on Shabbos. I apologize. It's very simple. Okay. So we're not allowed to bake on Shabbos or cook on Shabbos. So meaning if it is ready, yeah, you can leave it there to warm it up, right? For example, if you cooked before, but you like warm challah. I mean, it's very good when people like warm challah, but guess what? You warm it once, like it's going to stay on this hot tray. After some times, like after the meal, it's going to be hard. I mean, right? So we never warm up the bread, but it is soft for a long time. Okay, but some people do not care. They like it warm for Shabbos. I mean, for a meal, there is no problem. Right, so that's exactly he said. What he said. See there, like how much readiness should be in the bread. So meaning if it's almost done, but it is finishing up in the oven, I guess there is no problem, right? Because we started the process before. Okay. So again, it is likewise permitted to store in the oven even types of legumes. So legumes, we need to see which time is legumes. I mean, maybe corn or something. Right? But because beans, it takes very long time to cook beans. The way I understand, the types of the dough products and that do not take long time to cook. So commentaries say, unlike meat, which cannot be ready for evening meal, these products can be ready for evening meal for Shabbos. So that meaning it's for sure it's going to be ready, because I need before Shabbos, let's say only 30 minutes. Like for sure it's going to get ready, 40 minutes, right? And even at 20 minutes before Shabbos, so still enough time, right? These products will be ready for evening meal Shabbos. There is concern that may it cannot be ready. So meat cannot be ready for evening meal. Those products will be ready for evening meal on Shabbos. There is a concern that one may stock the coals to hasten the cooking. Nevertheless, it is permitted to store them in oven if the condition detailed by Kitzur in these lines that follow is fulfilled. So let's try to understand. So on one hand, with meat is very simple. Nobody's going to do anything. The problem is when these foods for a Friday night meal is not completely cooked. So technically, you're allowed to cook on Shabbos. Right? I think we said last time, right? Not to start cooking, but if you start cooking before Shabbos and it's continue cooking, there is no problem, right? It's like I just want to remind you, like I think it's the best example from a Talmud. It says that if you open the irrigation system, right, for your garden, and it's going to irrigate the whole Shabbos, there is no problem. There's no problem. So the same idea, like you did something permissible before Shabbos, and it's like, of course you're not allowed to water something on Shabbos, but since it's done independently, so that there is no problem whatsoever. Same as light. So you turn on the light and you leave it there, right? So you did not do anything forbidden. Same is here. Same is food. So you put food in the oven that it was allowed. Right, but you want it for a Friday night meal. So commentators say, since you want this food for Friday night meal, so you might stock the coals to make it hotter. So in this case, you must follow this procedure that we're going to outline. Okay, so it says, so continue with this procedure. As long as the food is stored in the oven in significant amount of time before nightfall, meaning that significant amount, so nightfall, I guess nightfall and plus like when a person comes home. Also, it's usually, especially in the winter, right? Especially in the winter, we pray after the nightfall, Marif, after the nightfall. So and until you pray this, that, and then you come home and then you sing the songs and you wash for bread. So you have extra, I don't know, like a lot of time, hour, 2 hours extra. So right. So meaning that a person would not do something to speed up the cooking. Okay, so meaning again, as long as the food stored in the oven, significant amount of time before the nightfall. Again, it could be a little, even raw. I mean, if it's enough time, so that it will be able to become cooked before the nightfall. So that's our goal. So commentators say, according to Mishnah Brura, it must be cooked to the required levels. See the next note. By Shkia, sunset. Okay, see Mishnah Brura, 259, right? End of 259. Meaning what? So Shkia, where is Shkia? Shkia we learned in the gloss is, what is it? It's a sunset, and to required level is 1/3 or a half. Right? It's like food ben drusai. Okay, so continue. Okay, continue. Right, so Kitzur here is more lenient, right? So that it will be able to become cooked before the nightfall, even just a bit. Okay, right? As we're going to see further on, there is to the point that is edible, albeit only with difficulty. Right. So, meaning that usually people don't do it, don't eat in this condition, but if forced, they would eat. Okay, forced meaning there is no other way. And it says, commentary 86, as long as a somewhat edible, they're not concerned that the person will throw the coals to hasten the cooking process. So if it's not edible, it's like a long time to wait, that's the problem. But if it's almost there, so a person can wait. That's the way I understand. So Mishnah Berurah 253:37. It is considered cooked to the point when it's half cooked. Right, so half cooked is more stricter opinion. So we said in the Talmud there are two opinions. One is 1/3, and one is half. Of course, I mean, since it's what is it? It's a biblical prohibition is cooking, so it's preferable to go by stricter opinion. In the present situation, one may rely on other authorities who hold that is considered cooked to this point only 1/3 cooked. Exactly, right, as we said. Mishnah Berurah 253:38. Right. There is either half or a time. There is either half the time that it takes to fully cook dish, or 1/3 of the time. See Chazanish or Chaim 37:6. So meaning if you know that it takes one hour to cook, so if you cooked it for 30 minutes, so that is considered to be half cooked. But I think, like, without going deep into details, this half time or time like this timer does not start right away just because you put it on in the oven, or you put it on the stove on the blech, right? The time starts when the vessel is going to be hot. So when the vessel is going to be hot, like this pot to the degree of Yad Saledas bo, right, so that your hand recoils, only then the time starts. So it's sometimes, like if it's like a soup or something, like it's significant amount of time, right, because you need to warm up the water. Okay. One second. Okay, so but we said, as a commentators say, you can count on being ready 1/3 is if needed. So again, this is for Friday night meal. Because if it's only half cooked, so before the sunset, most likely there is no problem to wait and right. Or if it's even completely raw, but it's meat, and it's not going to be ready. Many authorities, however, do not follow this lenient view. According to these authorities, one may not leave food on open fire or coals unless it's fully cooked, and further cooking will not improve the dish. See Shulchan Aruch. Okay. Before we continue, so technically, it is allowed to put it on the fire or on the blech. It's not recommended, but still, technically, you're allowed to put it on open fire. You're allowed to put it in the oven when it's 1/3 cooked, right? So it's the most lenient opinion. Others say only half cooked, and the most stricter opinion. And we actually try to follow this opinion. Right, even if it's we have a slow cooker, even in a slow cooker we would put soup, for example, right? In the winter soup is good, so you put soup, but still soup completely cooked, and it's not this new technology. I don't know, whatever they do, they know what they're doing. These people, who make these slow cookers, it's not going to spoil. The soup is going to be perfect, like 18 hours later. But the vegetables, whatever, would be intact, everything, right? So that's why we put everything completely cooked. We don't cook on Shabbos, period. But as we said, technically, there is no problem. Okay, so the way I understand, most of the people would do cholent on Shabbos, but again, even with cholent, there is a problem. Sometimes it can burn this and that. So. Okay, but I'm right. I'm not going to give a cooking advice because technically it's allowed. Okay, so continue. Bir halacha 153:1. writes that ideally one should follow the most stringent view and not leave it on the fire for Shabbos. Okay, but in present situation, one may rely on the lenient view. See Mishnah Berurah. So that's exactly what we follow, right? So meaning before Shabbos, make sure everything is cooked. But as we said, if not, we have somebody to rely on. One should keep in mind, however, that even according to the lenient view, that maintains that is considered cooked to the degree that one may store. 1 second. One must keep in mind, however, that even according to lenient view, that maintains that it is considered cooked to the degree that one may store it in the oven before Shabbos, it is nonetheless not totally cooked with regard to the prohibition of cooking on Shabbos. Therefore, it is forbidden to close the oven on Shabbos with such a food in it. See previous CF. Because doing so, or hastening the cooking in any other manner is transgression of milacha of cooking on Shabbos. So let me explain what it says here. So on one hand, yes, as you said, you can put it in the oven. We said on an open fire. After the fact, there is no problem. After the fact, properly, never ever do it. Do it on a blech, meaning that's a sheet of aluminum, right? Aluminum or some other material, whatever is it, right? 1 second. But so if you put it on a stove, right, on a grill, there is no problem, right? Because you put it before Shabbos, there is no problem. But the problem is that you cannot add the fire or decrease the fire. So basically, you cannot take off the lid and put it back. You cannot steer it. You cannot do anything because all of these things are going to promote cooking faster. That's for sure it's violation of Shabbos, right? Or if you put it in the oven. And it's like too late. Basically, you would not be allowed to close the door. Why? Because if you close the door of the oven, so the temperature is going to rise in the oven, and it's going to cook faster. So meaning it's absolutely forbidden. Interesting. Okay, I mean, but on the top of this of the stove, there is no problem. Stove top. Okay, stove top. Okay, continue. However, when stowing and oven types of beans and dough products that are not cooked to the extent that they are partially edible close to nightfall. So our goal again, so it's going to be partially edible before the nightfall. And if you remove, for example, we said if it was on open fire, again, so if you did it before Shabbos, you did not violate anything, and you left it there until, let's say when it's going to be ready for, like, watching time or whatever, so you just remove and that's it. You remove from open fire, there's no problem. You can serve. There is no problem. It's like the light, right? You turn on the light and it was shining. You did not do anything. Okay. Right. Okay. So again, but it must be ready to this degree, like half or 1/3, preferably 1/2, before the nightfall. So again, however, when stowing in the oven, so but in olden days, they did do something on top. I'm not sure. I think it was not hot enough. Today, since we have the flame, the gas flame or electric flame, like very very close to the pot, it's simple. But in olden days, like it was like a stove inside, right inside, and the fire was inside. So the fire to get this height, it was not so easy. Okay, so meaning to maintain high fire, so most of the food they would have inside of the stove. Okay, so and it says Mishnah Berurah, who rules that must be done before sunset. Okay, so and right, that's what we learned before. I mean, the Kitzur says here before the nightfall, but nightfall is too late, like because according to some opinion, is nightfall is sunset is new days from sunrise to sunset. So it's new day, and of course we call it ben hashemashos because like it's questionable, but since it's possible violation of Shabbos, so we go by stricter opinion and like of Mishnah Berurah, and we say that until the sunset. Then they must make sure to seal the door oven with clay. So okay, so meaning that it's possible for these foods to get ready before Friday night, but do not open and check, basically, right? Seal with clay. Before it can be assumed, because it can be assumed that coals inside of the oven are not shoveled out and covered properly, right? So why do we have to seal the oven door? Because we're afraid that the person might open and may do something to the coals, right? Shovel them, bring them close to the pot, right? And as we said last time, what's the proper procedure, right? If you first two options, you take out all the coals, so meaning that like if you open the door, you're not going to speed up the cooking for sure, right? Or the cover the coals with ashes, right? So that's why he said, so if none of them was done, so if you do one of these, there is no problem. So you don't have to seal the door. But if you did not do, meaning they assume that we did not do, right? So he has to seal the door. Okay. Continue. One must take care to fulfill this halacha. Okay. So meaning like all of this halacha has been decided. It's all of the offenses that our Rabbi said that we must do in order not to cook on Shabbos, like right, not like explicitly. So it can be cooked by itself, but not as explicit. For if they stored such a food in the oven, but did not prepare the oven in this way, that is by sealing it, then not only it is forbidden to leave the food in the oven, but even after the fact it is forbidden until Motzei Shabbos, Friday night. Okay. So even after the fact it is forbidden, even if left there accidentally. So what it's right? It's Shulchan Aruch 254.8. So meaning what? That if they did not seal the oven, so three options basically in this oven: take out the coals, cover it with ashes, or cover the door with the clay. So if they did not do any of them, so that's the problem. So we cannot eat food, and we have to take out this the food out, right? I mean, to take out the food now. Take out the food. Or if they did not, it cooked, right? Then no problem. You have to wait as a punishment until Motzei Shabbos, and then after the Shabbos is over, we have to add the time that it takes to cook the dish from the beginning, and only after that we're allowed to eat it. Right. So again, until the Motzei Shabbos, there is Saturday night, when the amount of time elapses in which the cooking could have been done and it been cooked after Shabbos needs. After Shabbos ends. After Shabbos ends. So it says, the commentators say, one must wait this amount of time to avoid any benefit from the prohibited cooking, and that occurred on Shabbos. That occurred on Shabbos. Okay. So meaning here we did accidentally. So accidental, yeah, we're not punished, but we're not right. But we cannot take advantage of the mistake. Okay. So let's see. Next halacha number 20, and it says, so we read without commentaries. Breaking any part of something that is attached to the ground may be included in Milacha Soiseir, demolition. did we do in the demolition in our no, we did not get to it. So you see, first we're going to do in this book and then in green book on Wednesdays. Very interesting. My demolition, but just to remind us what we said in introduction to this sieve, right? We said that it's only bits of pieces. What Kitzur thought that it's like people not strong in, because laws of Shabbos much more extensive than this, of course. Okay. So, however, so the problem is demolition. However, in the case of opening the door of the oven that has sealed with a clay before Shabbos, there is no actual demolition. In this case, it is only the opening of the structure that is being demolished, not the structure itself. Okay. Now, although this is not generally forbidden by rabbinic decree, because it resembles the melacha. In this case, where the opening was sealed, in the first place only to short the amount of time, and it was not meant to be sealed for a long time. There is no prohibition against opening it on Shabbos. Okay, so we see Mishnah Brura. Continue. Nevertheless, because opening of the door does resemble the milach of demolition in some way, demolition, Kitzur writes that it is proper to mitigate this in the following manner on Shabbos. In the following manner on Shabbos, when the opening an oven that has been sealed with clay, one should have an opened by idolater. If there is no idolater available, akum, right? Okay, so idolater available. One should have the open it by a minor. If there is no minor available, it is permissible for adult to open it as well, but should be done in unusual manner. Okay, so we're going to see what it means here. Okay, so let's see from the beginning. So, as we said before, right? If people did not take the coals out and did not cover, and it makes sense because they if you're going to take the coals out, the temperature is going to drop tremendously. If you cover this coals with ashes, the temperature is going to drop. But your goal is cooking. You want this dish to be cooked, right? So meaning all the things is not good for you. So in this case, we go by the third option. As we said, we can seal the door with the clay, right? Meaning that I'm not going to open. So it's like as we said yesterday, putting the aluminum foil on the knobs. To reminder that I'm not allowed to adjust the temperature or the gas, the flame. Okay. Just 1 second. Let me quickly read. However, even in the case of the opening the door of the oven that has sealed with clay before Shabbos, okay, as we explained, there is no actual demolition. Okay. In this case, it is only opening the structure that is being demolished, not the structure itself. It is only opening of structure that is being demolished, not the structure itself. So basically, it's not like he's breaking the door or something. No, door is there, and right, the door is there, and it's only the seal, right? So technically, since it was done only temporarily meaning for what? I guess for a few hours, 2 hours, 3 hours. That's it. No more than that. So there is no problem, right? So even there is a rabbinic decree not to demolish in this case, but since it is needed for a short period of time and it was intended to open, so it's not considered to be demolition. Okay, and the source is Mishnah Brura 59:19 and Shulchan Aruch Chabad, right? 259.7. Okay, so meaning there is no problem. Okay, so nonetheless, because opening the door does resemble the melach of demolition in some way, Kitzur writes that proper to mitigate the following manner. So that's one of the cases marisayan, right? Marisayan when somebody somebody who is not so familiar with halachas, so they see what we do, and they might conclude, in one case, that we do something wrong, right? It says do not demolish, and we do demolish. All right. Or like in one case, or in another case, they can conclude there is no problem with demolishing anything, and they would demolish something that is absolutely forbidden, right? So since there is a maybe problem, so we try to find the alternative way. On Shabbos, when opening of the oven has been sealed with clay, one should have it opened by a idolater. So meaning ask a non-Jew to do this thing. Okay, so commentators say, in general, one may not have idolater to perform melacha for Jew on Shabbos, seen below 90:14. Okay, so it's a long way to go for us. However, in this case, there is no actual prohibition and it is permitted. Right? Why is it permitted? Because, as we explained in introduction, right? So technically, even we can do it ourselves, but since it because of problem is marisayan, so we want to find another way. It is, if there is no idolater available, one should have opened by a minor. So I would say that this minor preferably be, it does not say, but before like age of chinuch, like before 5-6 years old. So a baby would not understand. But sometimes people like take it too far, and they it's like they try to hint the minor what to do, just to hint. But the minor gets it, and it's get used to it, and now everybody needs him. And guess what? That's how he's going to learn. So if a child learn the wrong way, so go and try to teach him otherwise. That he's not supposed, and he would be confused. What do you mean? I was doing it last week, and today you say it is forbidden. What do you want from me? Understand? So I would say until they do not understand what's going on, yes. But after that, don't do through the minor. If there is no minor available, it is permissible for adult to open it as well, but it should done it in a usual manner. So unusual manner, I don't know, with the food. Unusual manner is to put a towel or something on the handle and pull it, like something like you would not do during the week. And we have a commentary, and it says see introduction to Siman 80. Okay, so it's a long way to go. Although it is normally rabbinical prohibited to perform melacha even in an unusual manner, we're not dealing with the actual prohibition. And this is being done only as added measure. Okay, so basically there is no stringency upon stringency on rabbinic. There is stringency for biblical, but not on rabbinic. Right? So meaning we don't go too far. So it would be allowed. So let me quickly check time, how much time we have. A second. Okay, so I guess let's do it. Okay, so halacha number 21, and it says, it is prohibited to insulate the food, hot foods. Okay, I think yesterday we also have questions about insulation, or it was somebody asked me online. Think about insulation. Okay, it is prohibited to insulate hot foods before Shabbos in material that the sages determine they have a capacity to increase the heat of food. Increase. So as we said, there is three different kinds. The sages enacted this prohibition out of the concern that if one were accustomed to warming food in this way, he will insulate the pot in ashes mixed with live coals, which could lead him to inadvertently stroke the coals on Shabbos. Okay. And Hasan the cooking, Simish number 57.5. Okay. In this if Kitzur describes the permissible methods of insulating coffee on Erev Shabbos for the Shabbos use. I mean, just reading this, how like a huge, like a procedure, like amazing procedure was to have a coffee, like in the morning. Like today we have this, what is it? Water urn, and that's it. Like you can have there 50 cups or something. But in olden days it was not so simple. So it says, continue. One who insulate coffee on Erev Shabbos by placing inside a hole so that it should not be hot for Shabbos use. So it should be hot. Right? That's how for Shabbos use. If he carries with a pillow and the like, that it should stay warm, he's insulating it by placing it warm. If he insulating it by placing into the sand, it is forbidden to insulate the vessel by placing it entirely into the sand. Okay, so we're going to explain all this. Even if he does not insulate the entire vessel in the sand, but only part of it, and the other part of it he covers with the garments and the like, in such a manner that the entire vessel is covered on all the sides. This is also forbidden. Rather, he must do it in this way. The vessel contains the coffee, should be inserted only halfway or one-third of the way into the sand, and the remainder of the vessel should be exposed to the air. Okay, so I mean it's going to cool, but not, I guess, maybe not as fast. The remainder of the vessel should be exposed to the air. Okay, he should then place the board over the hole. Right, so meaning that the board over the hole is, so meaning it's not touching. It's not touching the, what is it? It's not touching the pot. So if somebody have a picture, please send it. Please share it in a group. Or overturn large vessel on it, like some vessel, and cover it with a sand, I guess, vessel on it, so that there is an area between the board. So basically, I'm not sure if somebody sent the picture. So basically, it is a hole, right, in the ground, and they in a hole they put sand, and in sand they put this coffee pot, and it's halfway into the sand, and they cover the opening of the hole with the board and put sand or whatever they put on top. So that's like so meaning this coffee is underground. Or another type, like there is a hole, they put the coffee again in a sand, and they overturn the vessel, right? Some overturn the vessel, and again maybe put something on top of it. So meaning that there's air around the pot, and like from all the sides and on top. Okay, I see somebody sends, but I cannot see with the glasses. So okay. Hope that's good. That's right pictures. It's page 24. Okay. So two kind of insulation. Okay. So meaning we're going to explain, of course, what do we do today. I mean, it's very, very simple. All right, it's similar. I mean, similar meaning idea is similar. He may then place the board over the vessel, garment, pillows, and the like. Okay. Since the top of the part of the utensil is not directly touching the garment or the pillow, it is not included in the prohibition of insulating food. Again, there is air around. Okay. Preparing per training to insulating foods for Shabbos can be found Shulchan Aruch, Siman 257, 258, 259. It's a big topic. Okay, so let's go back a little, and we're going to explain. Okay. So again, from the beginning, and we're going to explain. It is prohibited to insulate foods before Shabbos in material that the sages determine the capability to increase the heat of the food. So it's not. So usually in insulation mean that it's going to keep the heat. Like of course the temperature is going to drop, but like naturally, but not as fast. I mean, it's going to be hot as for a longer time. But here we say there is some material. So sand is one of them. There are a few more that sages mentioned, but the sand is the most famous one. Was it wool, like raw wool? I don't remember. Maybe. Okay. Okay, let's see. Maybe they say. Okay. On Shabbos itself, it is forbidden to insulate a pot in any material. Okay, so right. Thank you for the reminder. Yeah. On Shabbos, we're not allowed to insulate. So here we're talking about insulating only before Shabbos. Only before Shabbos, of course. But it's like this few lines. It's like a big deal, right? To a few lines of commentaries. The sages enacted this prohibition out of the concern that if one were to accustomed to warming food in this way, he may insulate the pot in ash mixed with live coals. So the thing is, what's the problem? The problem is that they might insulate it with what would be the best insulation. The best insulation would be the coals, right? You put the coals around instead of sand, and they're going to be like even to cook, or right? Or maybe it's then not that hot. Still, it's going to maintain the heat for sure. Right. So one would lead to another. Okay, live coals, which could lead them to inadvertently stacking the coals, meaning when they want to bring them together, stacking the coals, and they would burn hotter. All right, and by this it would hasten the cooking. See Mishnah Berurah 257.5. In this sieve, Kitzur describes the permissible methods of insulating the coffee on Erev Shabbos use. So meaning. So we're talking about coffee pot for every Shabbos use. So it's not until the next day, but we're talking about few hours. So per person likes to drink hot coffee. I mean, I like hot coffee. It's only for a few hours. One who insulates coffee on Erev Shabbos by placing inside the hole. I saw something was said, but I cannot see without glasses. Okay, so inside of the hole. So it should be hot for Shabbos use. Again, Shabbos use, Friday night use. Okay, Shabbos use. And he covers it with a pillow or the like. Right? So meaning inside of a hole and covered with a pillow. So that it should stay warm. Or he insulated by placing a sand, it into the sand. It is forbidden to insulate the vessel by placing it entirely in the sand. Okay, so commentary. The sand is a material that increases the heat of that which insulated inside. So I think the pillows are not. I mean, they keep warm, but not increase the temperature, right? But I would say don't insulate it completely, right? Even if he does not insulate the entire vessel in a sand, right? But only part of it, right? And the other part of it covered with a garment and the like, in such a manner that the entire vessel is covered from all sides. This is forbidden. Okay, so meaning the material do not increase the heat. Here we go. of that which is insulated inside. So basically, he breaks down half of the bottom half is covered with a sand, which increases the temperature, and the second half, to make it simpler, with a pillows or blankets. So even though pillows or blankets, as he said, materials do not increase the heat, but still the sand does. And since there is no air, right? Right. So meaning no air, it's not going to be cooled down. For sure, it's going to increase the temperature. So that's why we're not allowed to insulate from all of the sides. Again, this thing, right? Half of the sand and half of the other materials. Okay. Continue. Rather, he must do it in a way, in this way. The vessel containing the coffee should be inserted in the halfway or 1/3 into the sand, right? Into the sand, and the remainder of the vessel should be exposed to the air. So exposed to the air, but as you saw in the picture, I hope so, it is still under the ground, but exposed to the air. He should then place the board over the hole. I guess people have to walk over, right? It's a good idea. Or overturn the vessel like on top, so to create like a dome. Okay, so that there is an air, so that there is air between the board and overturned vessel or the board, and the vessel containing coffee. So meaning in either scenario it does not touch, right? So meaning it's going to be cooled down, but still, I mean, it's going to cool, but not so fast. He may then place the board over the board or overturned vessel, garments, pillows, and the like. Since the top part of the utensil is not directly touching the garment and pillows, since the top part of the utensil is not directly touching the garment of pillows, right? Right, is exposed to air. It is not included prohibition of insulating food. So insulating food with heat in intensive things like sand would be forbidden from all of the sides. See diagram. Okay, diagram. Continue. The rest of the laws pertaining to insulating foods for Shabbos, see Shulchan Aruch. Of course, as we said, it's only like he said, bits and pieces, but whatever he decides that is more important. I mean, for me, it's amazing. Like, how can you decide what is more important? Like, but that's why I'm not Kitzur Shulchan Aruch. Continue. So let's take a few more minutes and we're going to finish this eve. And it says 22. On Erev Shabbos afternoon, close to dark, one should ask the members of the household in a soft voice, "Did you separate challah?" Nicely. In addition, he should say to them, "Light the Shabbos candles." So in a pleasant voice, because if as we said yesterday, b'siyata d'shmaya, right? A Talmud Chacham should not scream at people, because people would get scared, and as we learned in the beginning of Hilchas Dias, and they would like family members, if they're scared of you, they would you ask, you separate halal, they say yes, even they did not, and you would eat this forbidden food, right? And all other things. So so it's not right to be angry, because guess what? The person is going to eat treif and something that was cooked on Shabbos because they forgot, because this and that, and they say it's better for us to desecrate Shabbos than father comes home from the synagogue and yell and scream and curse at everybody, right? So again, on Erev Shabbos afternoon, close to dark, commentary, Mishnah Berurah 169, part 9, explained that somewhat earlier than a Bein Hashemashos, which is opinion Mishnah Berurah, begins at sunset. Okay, right, see Appendix B. Okay, so by us it's before 18 minutes in advance, right? So before that time, one should ask the members of the household soft voice, "Did you separate challah?" So meaning that they still have time. Okay, so quickly commentary on Challah. See above note 23. May not be separated on Shabbos. So before the sunset, yes, you can separate Challah. How you separate Challah? We separate Challah from the dough just quickly, right? We said from the dough. Here, like before Shabbos, most likely everything is ready unless they're planning to freeze some dough. Oh, then in this case, yes, maybe if you combine everything, so you can separate. Or if you have breads and you have extra breads. So why I say extra breads? Because you need a lechem mishnah for each meal. You need two breads. If you baked, just simplified example, 10 rolls, you need only 4. So you bake 10 just in case. So maybe you're going to eat during the week. Okay, there is no problem. So you can separate from one of them, right? You can separate Challah. So, but all of these separations only after before the sunset. Did you separate Challah? Just a second, commentary. Mishnah Berurah notes that a contemporary custom is not to ask this question. Okay, Mishnah Berurah with regard to the importance of asking the question on Erev Pesach falls on Shabbos. Okay, so that's a different story. Okay, 98. So continue. In addition, he should say to them, light the Shabbos candles. Okay. So additionally, he should caution them to cease any activity that is forbidden on Shabbos. If he is not at home at this time, he should send someone to remind them. See Mishnah Berurah 260:14. So today it's very simple. Everybody have clocks, everybody have watches, everybody have cell phones. They can check time. But the olden days, we have to understand there were no watches, no clocks. Only like rich people would afford the clock, right? Right. That's it. It's like, so people had to know the time. So that's why it says send somebody. There were no cell phones. Send somebody to ask them to warn them that they have to light the Shabbos candles. Very interesting. So, and the last one, number 23. A person is required to check his clothing on Erev Shabbos before dark to ensure that a needle is not stuck into the garment and there is nothing in his pockets. Even in the area where there is an A-roof, which permits carrying the items, he should still check his clothing because he may have some muktzah in them there. Okay, so let's see. So before we okay, so 1 second. Let's do this commentary. Okay, a person is right to check his clothing on Erev Shabbos before dark. There is a right before the Bein Hashemashos, which is the opinion of Mishnah Berurah. Okay, right. So basically, what I think with this clothing, I mean, if you have Shabbos clothing and I have Shabbos clothing, I never put anything in my pockets. Do I check? I don't check. Because how do I know? Because I never put anything. Right. So that's the rule. But if person sometimes sometimes a person does not have Shabbos clothing, so he would use like weekday clothing. There it could be change in the pocket, money in the pocket. I don't know, some other things like even tissue in the pocket, right? But when you don't have an Eruv, so you're not allowed to walk with this tissue. Okay, so to ensure that the needle is not stuck to his garment. Okay. So a needle, I'm not sure why a needle would be there. Maybe he was sewing something and left it there. I don't know. And there is nothing in his pockets. Commentary. One may not carry items, one domain to another on Shabbos. So we actually learning that's our topic tomorrow, right? The laws of carrying. There is a transfer on Shabbos set out in Siman 84. Okay. Even in the area that has a roof, a roof is Tzuras HaPesach. right? Permits carrying in certain circumstances the law of Eruv set out below Siman 94. Okay. If one wishes to leave the area enclosed by Eruv on Shabbos, he should also check his clothing. So meaning that, in my town there is an Eruv, but I'm planning to walk out of the town to go to attend the wedding or out of the Eruv area, so I need to check my clothing. Okay. Permits he should check his clothing because it might be some muktzah item there. Last commentary. Literally set aside, and meaning muktzah is set aside, the object that may not be moved on Shabbos. Okay, so you have to be very, very careful. So next topic is, we're not going to start, Siman 93, permissible procedure for engaging the services of idolater before Shabbos. And for the lending and leasing item to him. Okay, so we'll see. Right, so meaning before Shabbos. All right.